I'm gonna show you how to build not one, but two infinite scrap farms that produce unlimited scrap. This resource is used mainly as a currency and is incredibly useful to complete time events like the Exo Salvage Initiative. Trade it to obtain resources, and in case you have too many, just scan it for bytes. We're going to build a basic, cheaper setup, useful if you only need scrap from time to time or you just have started the game, and a more advanced setup that produces scrap at a higher rate. There are many different designs, but I have selected for you the easiest designs with the best rate of scrap production. Both farms are going to be almost 100% automated. I'm granting you that you can set up these farms and forget about them for a long time before you ever need to bring resources to these farms again. This applies especially to the second one. Okay, let's start with the first design. Thanks to the community for voting the poll. This first farm is based on soil. It produces scrap at a rate of 1 to 2, meaning that each soil canister that we bring, we get 2 scraps. Not too bad. The reason why we're using this design is that we want the farm to be automated. So we are avoiding printing, for example, Drill Mods 1, which has a higher scrap rate of 1 to 3, but would require us to always be around and use our backpack to print the drills. We are aiming for automation because time is gold, right? So let's build this first unlimited soil to scrap farm together. Dealing with soil, of course we're gonna need to start with a soil centrifuge on a large platform B. Then we need to provide as much soil as we can. For example, we could place a medium soil canister here at the side. Of course, the larger supply you can provide, the less you need to refill the farm. Don't forget to place a small canister that will move back and forth to load the centrifuge. Then we're gonna place a small printer at the side of the platform, and I recommend that you place it toward the front, leaving an empty slot behind. This will help to reach further onto the next segment. Let's place down a medium platform. Why can't we just call these small platforms? Anyway, attach a medium storage, then feel free to open it up if you wish. Now we can set up the 3D printer to print small canisters and hit the green button to loop the printer and print that same item repeatedly. Bruh. Next, place another large platform B and make sure it's a little slanted toward the storage that we just placed, so that the auto arm can reach into it. As always, the green area is the pickup area and it should reach into the storage itself. Now we can print and put the grinder onto the platform, also known as large shredder. Add a medium resource canister. Of course, you could have a large platform with a larger canister if you wanted to. Also recommend your storage to be a canister, so that you can place a scrap into it and make it accept scrap only. Otherwise, the auto arm could try to put items on top of it and block it. To prevent any other problem, add a filter to the auto arms. Basically, just place the one resource you want them to pick up in their filter slots. Make sure to provide power to the platforms with machines on them. It really could be any form of power, and even if it was low, the farm would still work, but just slowly. So the more yellow you get, the better. As long as there is some power. Only the first time you need to make sure all auto arms are on and activated the centrifuge, then let it go. Now look at how simple yet efficient this design is. Soil is transformed into resin, which is used to print canisters, which are shredded into scrap. As long as there is soil, you can leave this farm alone and do your stuff. You would only need to bring soil from time to time. What? You don't want to bring resources to the farm? Then watch how to make the next farm for a more advanced design. The second farm is more advanced because it produces scrap at a higher rate of 1 to 3. It's based on astronium, and I'm showing you how to build the cheaper version and how to make it even more powerful with a simple tweak. And the best thing about this farm is that, unlike soil, you can automate astronium collection. This means that you will not need to constantly gather astronium. Let's build it together. You can build this farm anywhere, but if you want it to be even more automated, build it down in the core layer. It's gonna be much easier to load it. More on that later. Now let's start with the basic design. We're starting with a large platform B with a medium storage at each side. Then add 2 platforms with an auto arm each on both sides. We're not gonna use a soil centrifuge this time, rather a trade platform. Add a square platform and a large shredder. Bigger shredder means faster production. Next, we're gonna add a platform with an auto arm and a canister. As always, the green area of the auto arm points to the preceding section of the production chain. You can manually put a scrap into the canister to make it accept scrap only. Now let's go back to the start of the line and place our astronium. I'm using a canister, but it could be any kind of storage. We're gonna need 4 ores of any resource just to hold those slots. I'm using some cheap compound here. This will make sure the trading ratio is never messed up. More about it in a second. Now make sure all platforms receive power. This is what I mean with trade ratio. Go to the trade platform. We don't wanna trade for scrap, so scroll down for astronium. Then scroll to the right to select the solid fuel jump jet. This is what we wanna get. And the ratio is important because for every 4 ores of astronium, we get 8 jump jets. Make sure the first auto arm is reaching into astronium, but the blue area should not reach into this storage at the right of the trade platform. This is important. Now get a storage sensor and place it to the side of this storage. Make sure it's attached to the storage itself and not the platform. Pull the hook, and even though you could connect it directly to the trade platform, I think it's gonna be easier if you branch it to the ground first, then attach it to the trade platform. Set the storage sensor to full empty. You can visually check that both arrows are green. I have already set the filter of the first auto arm to astronium, and now you can switch it on. It will start to load the trade platform, then the storage to the side. Just for the first time, we need to manually dispatch the rocket loaded with astronium and wait for it to come back with our goodies, 8 shiny jump jets. Well, not for much longer, we're going to shred them. As you can see, the jump jets are unloaded and astronium is loaded immediately. At this point, the storage sensor realizes that the storage is full, so it triggers the rocket to ship a second cargo. Now we can use one of the jump jets to filter the auto arm, and it's better to make sure that the green area doesn't reach into the astronium storage, just for double safety. The blue area of course should reach into the shredder. Now you can switch the auto arm on and look at those expensive jump jets getting destroyed forever. But no worries, you will get some nice scrap out of it. Grab the first piece of scrap and place it as a memorabilia on the auto arm filter. Switch this last auto arm on and your farm is completed. But wait, didn't we say that we were gonna make it auto-load astronium? Of course, let me show you how. By the way, you can have a more advanced design simply by having a large shredder and canister. It's gonna make your farm even bigger and run for longer. To automatically provide astronium, place an auto extractor on an astronium deposit. Provide power and an auto arm, or a line of auto arms if needed, to bring the precious resources to your scrap farm. Especially if you get a spot with a full green bar, your farm will run for ages, and you will probably get more scrap that you could ever spend. Watch this video next to learn more about Astroneer tricks and stay safe.